Blessings, blessings, everybody. This is Dr. David D. King with Kingdom Holistic Health Ministry, and I do have these amazing doctors with me on this morning. So I'm not going to waste no time. Let's bring them on. Good morning to you lovely people.
Good morning, everyone.
How are y'all doing today? I think Dr. J's frozen for a minute.
Jay.
No, I'm not frozen.
Oh.
What are you doing to me?
I'm
not frozen.
No, you good now.
All right.
All right. So y'all, I'll tell y'all what, whatever y'all in charge, whatever y'all want to talk about today, I'm ready to learn.
What do you want to talk about? Just get up.
Let's see. What can we start this one with?
How about some testimonials?
Yes. Testimonials. Let me see.
Know any?
Yes, I know myself, I've been feeling amazing. And I've been taking all my vitamins, even my the liver balance, and I have been feeling boom, A1, and I'm listening to a couple of people, and I'm going to send a text to see if they want to come on real quick and give their testimony.
Perfect.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bounce myself off the screen and I'm gonna make a call to get a testimony while you two lovely people talk.
Okay. What do you want to talk about, CHARISE?
Well, Jay, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, we've got the Maha movement and all the things that are coming out about our food supply, the food chain, and how that would affect our bodies, our guts in particular.
Yeah, I like talking about the gut, right? There's probably more bacteria in your gut than there are stars in the sky, right?
Right.
They are in a symbiotic relationship with us. It means what we eat, they eat. Isn't that interesting? Right? So whatever we do, think, eat, drink, affects those bacteria, which in turn affect us. And that's something that a lot of people don't spend a lot of time understanding. Hippocrates told us 3,000 years ago, all disease begins in the gut. And he didn't have a microscope, right? So when you think about that, what we do, what we eat, what we drink has an effect upon bacteria in our gut, which has an effect on every system in the body, including the brain. So if we treat those bacteria in our guts poorly, we're treating ourselves poorly. We will get what's called molecules, ortho or postbiotics, orthomolecules that affect how we think. They can actually affect us in our mental state. So this whole thing called the microbiome, right? That's what we're alluding to. If you can imagine, bacteria in your body that are working with you instead of against you. I think every time you make a choice in what you eat, you drink, what you say, you pray, will affect those bacteria and they in turn affect you. So think about that as a symbiotic relationship. And so often, when we're doing things, like running a scan and trying to ascertain, where do we start with someone? Many times it falls back to the gut itself, because if you can change the gut, you can change the whole person, including, right. And now that's a scientific fact. So we talk a lot about food and we talk a lot about different things on this show. And that's why you can literally rewrite yourself based upon changing diet, supplementation, doing certain things. And like Dr. King just said, hey, I'm taking a supplement that basically helps balance my liver. And you start feeling better. Well, yeah, it means the liver's stressed, right? And those are things that we find out on AO scan, and we can affect the gut in a positive way. What would you add to that?
Well, and making sure that all of those channels for the gut are open. It's like spring is coming, and typically I do a cleanse in the springtime, like the season changes. I kind of go in circuit with that, but making sure that, and this is another whole topic in and of itself, but to detoxify your body, most people don't realize that your digestive tract begins in your mouth and ends in your colon and has to be processed. Everything has to be processed by the liver and by the different intestines to see what are we keeping, what are we getting rid of, and that we have these filters in the body that we have to make sure that we can relieve the tension or have them the ability to release toxins. And the liver is, that's such, everything backs to the liver. So and making sure that the liver is functioning properly will affect things like your blood sugar. It affects, like you said, brain fog, all different types of issues. And what we eat today and right now with all of the exposure and light that's being shed on our food system. I just watched a documentary by the lunatic farmer. I'm going to go meet this guy, Joel Salatin, and he talks about respecting the earth, and the way that he farms is, he talks about the nature being his office and that he wants to be a good steward for the land so God has a good return on his investment. But the way that he farms is clean farming. And so this is a really, like, one issue is related to another issue is related to another, because the food that we're buying, a lot of it is not good, and it does wear on our gut.
I was watching, I think it's called House Hunting, and it was talking about over, I think where it was the Caribbean, and everything was fresh, how they went to the market on the daily, and everything was fresh, and they were just eating, and I think they got to talking about how healthy everybody was because they was buying it on the fresh. What would happen? Well, I know we can't do that here in America, but what would happen if we had something like that? Um, when we're talking about digesting certain foods, he already took my cheese away, so I can't eat cheese anymore.
No, we didn't say that.
No, you just, I would buy organic and know what's going in the cheese.
Yeah, we were talking about rennet, RENETT, which is a pharmaceutical additive from Pfizer. It's been put in your cheese since the 80s.
Right.
We're not talking about all cheese. They cannot do that in organic.
Okay, can you break that down, because some stuff says organic. Like I saw this one thing said organic grape, organic seedless grapes. How can that be organic seedless?
Well, there's a difference between organic and GMO. Those are two different things.
Right.
So whether genetically modified or not has nothing to do with organic. All organic really says, and it depends on each state, is how long a farmer or agricultural platform has been not using pesticide and insecticide. They have to go at least 2 years before they can even qualify for that. So once they're tested and they find out, yep, you're not using pesticide, yep, you're not using insecticide, then we'll label you as organic. So anybody can be organic. That doesn't mean it's safe.
Right.
Because you have air and water coming at you, and nobody is filtering the rain. Nobody's watching what's going on with radiation like 5G. Does that affect the crops? We've talked about that many times on here, and the answer is yes. So point being, organic is just basically trying to keep the chemicals away from something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's pure or safe, because it can be genetically modified. And even the term organic, I'll give you an idea. There's numbers that are connected to the word organic, and those numbers stolen and put on a food without your knowledge. And so they could take a non-organic banana and put an organic label on it, charge you more money. You have no idea if it is or it isn't.
Right.
There's a lot of corruption when it comes to that. And we're finding this out, and believe me, that's all going to come out. We're going to find, there's a lot of things that need to change, and there's a lot of things that need to be policed when it comes to food, because it's horrible what's happening. I'm all about eat local, farmers markets,
Right.
grow your own. Okay. My family and I, we're buying chickens as I speak. We have space where we're going to grow our own chickens. I'm not going to eat chicken that's full of mRNA.
Right.
Okay.
Right now they're shooting them all in with the bird flu.
Yeah, they're shooting up your pigs, your
And
cows.
they're calling it organic.
Yeah.
They can still call it organic.
Yeah.
Or
I got to say this, okay? How do you make a vaccine? Do you know how?
you culture it on tissue
Chicken egg.
with animal tissue.
Most of them, right, are made inside chicken eggs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, interesting. Wow. And what's happening to the price of eggs? So if you can make vaccines inside of eggs, what do you think they're doing to the eggs in general? Yeah. So they're injecting pork without our knowledge. They're injecting New York strip without your knowledge. They're injecting chickens and eggs without your knowledge. And if you knew what was in it, you wouldn't buy it. Imagine if your eggs said mRNA on them. Would you buy them?
No way.
No, no.
Synthetic poison, right? It's killed people. So, we have to get to transparency into labeling. So, this whole egg conspiracy thing, it isn't about bird flu. You got to look deeper. I swear every time we get on these shows, it's conspiracy theory, right? And then 2 years later,
theory.
It ends up being the truth. Because I'm sorry, there's a lot of evil in the world, right? There's a lot of evil. And, we got to keep God in the middle. And we don't have God when it comes to profit. There's too many people that are getting harmed for the sake of money.
Right.
Right. So that's one of the things we do on this show is we're trying to talk to you about how you can up the ante, how you can get some scans, find out where you're stuck, get on the right supplements, maybe like a liver balance to help your body detoxify quicker, faster, so that all these things that are coming at you, you have some kind of defense, because what you don't know will kill you.
So what would you say in a month's period? Well, in a 3 month period, how many times to detox? What would you say?
Well, it depends on the person. It depends on how toxic you are. And you can't just start a detox. I mean, I don't recommend that. There's ways to know. It depends. Again, the scan is giving vital information as to where to start and how to start. I would start very conservatively. Some people like to do enemas and colonics and do that all the time. Most people wouldn't know what that was. But you have to make sure that all the portals are open and that you're doing it with some coaching or someone that knows what they're doing, because otherwise you can create another storm within the body.
Yeah, when I started out in holistic health, 35 years ago, we used to read, seasonal cleansing, right? You clean house in the spring and the fall, and that's what you do with your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but since that time, things have changed. And so now I am of the opinion you need to detox every day. Every day you should have some form of detox. Now we're not talking about what Dr. Houston just talked about with cleansing. What we're talking about is things that you can take on a daily basis that will assist your body with the act of detoxification on all systems. You got to poop, you got to pee, you got to cough, you got to sweat, and you got to menstruate. And if you don't do those things effectively, like she says, your portals, you're going to end up in trouble. And so people think, well, I move my bowel one time a day, and I'll look at them and go, well, then you're constipated. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm moving once a day. No, the definition of regular is every time you eat.
Mm-hmm.
If you feed a baby, what happens? You give food to a puppy, what happens? They move. You give food to an adult, they'll tell you they don't have time or they can only use their own bathroom.
Right.
And that's not good. So if you think about it, the human body can only process 3 meals a day. The fourth one has to leave when number 1 comes in. So basically every time you eat. So if you don't have good bowel movements on a consistent basis through the day, and it shouldn't take you longer than it does to urinate, you should be considering cleansing. Yeah.
Well, and to your point, you could do things like juicing apples, beets, and carrots every day. And that's a form you can juice, but a lot of that, I mean, a lot of us don't have time to do it every single day, but there's also supplementation, again, owner specific, body specific, like taking things like chlorella, open or broken cell chlorella, which will bind heavy metals to itself, and then you poop it out. But if you're not pooping regularly,
no, you got to eliminate. I mean, if you're urinating, by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it should be clear. So if, after that, it's still yellow, it's still cloudy, you're not drinking enough water.
right.
By noon, you should be clear. Interesting. So, we have color coded, we have things that come out of us. We can take a peek and understand what's happening to us. It's just understanding what's coming out of you. Right. But yeah, I think daily detoxification is something that we have to get into now, because the world is crazy. Since it was 30, 40 years ago, it's even gotten worse. So it's gotten to the point where you got to have something in you every single day. And juicing can be important. All these things, we have lots of ideas. That's one of the things we do. We run these scans. Dr. CHARISE and I, we can look at them and we can determine whether you should be cleansing right now, or maybe you're not strong enough. Maybe you're too weak. Sometimes the body has a lot going on it. So sometimes you got to build up the body. Sometimes you got to cleanse the body. So it's basically you're going one way or the other. So there can be a little bit of variance there as to who should cleanse and who shouldn't. If you're interested, you need to contact us, and we can tell you how to do it and to make it effective, based upon what your body wants to do, not what some book says. Okay. I'm glad the liver balance is working for you, David. That's an ancient Chinese secret, by the way.
I know, and I'm grateful, because if we don't, if in your car, if your check engine light doesn't come on, I mean that's on, and you never take it in to see why that check engine light is on, right? Then you can never get the problem fixed.
Right.
So with the AO scan, it lets you know where in your engine, your body needs to be fixed, needs to be touched, need to get more attention. Because sometimes we don't give those areas like the liver a lot of attention, right? We thinking, oh, I'm good, it's working properly. Never knew that mines needed to be balanced. So, if without the AO scan, I still wouldn't know.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. There are 5 stages to illness, right? Stage 1 through stage 5. Stage 5, you're dead.
Yeah.
And when we look at nutrition and what we consider as optimum, this is pretty powerful. We only put in enough nutrients in all of our food across the entire national food supply to fend off stage 4 and stage 5 of disease. Okay. What do we need for stage 3? What do we need for stage 2? I don't know about you, but I want to be stage 1.
Right.
So guess what? Nobody, and I'll underline that, including me, and I got a lot of degrees, knows what optimum is. It's never been studied. And I guarantee if they came out with an optimum scale to get every one of us to stage 1, you'd be taking a vitamin the size of your fist, because you're missing that much. Remember, we're only putting in nutrition what fights off stage 4 and 5 of disease. Who wants stage 2 or 3? Once you get to 2 or 3, the red light is on the car. There's a light blinking.
Right.
Stage 4 or 5, you may not even make it to the garage. Now you're in trouble. Think about it. How many times you ever go to the physician? You go to your doctor. When do you go to your doctor? When you're sick. You never go when you're healthy. You never go when you feel good. You never go just to walk in and say, hey, I feel great. How do I stay that way? Nobody does that. Oh yeah, I'm going to go get a physical. Well, you can imagine what's going to happen with that. Labs equal drugs.
Well,
It's a daily application.
so many times the testing that's done is baseline, or it's just superficial. It doesn't really get down to the nitty and the gritty. For example, let's say mammogram. By the time the tissue is altered to the point where it shows up on a mammogram, it has gone through a whole process of change, which the mammogram was insensitive enough to pick up. So if you wait, a lot of people, you go to your medical doctor, whomever, and they say, you know what, can't do anything for you because you don't have any symptoms. You're doing well. Well, that's never been the definition of health, good health ever. Never.
If you walk to a physician and say, hey, I'm here, just for general well checkup, most of the time you're like, well, you don't need me, just get a physical, well, isn't that part of the process? Right? Or they'll say, well, what's wrong with you? Well, there's nothing wrong. I just want to maintain my health. Oh, well, go talk to our dietitian. There's no real standard for what we can consider prevention or optimization of the body. We have to take that on our own responsibility.
That's right.
Right? And that's why we exercise. That's why we pray. That's why we meditate. That's why we do all these things. We get out and about, because if we don't, we know the consequences, right? I always say the United States of America is a great place to be shot in or run over by a car, because we have the best ERs on planet Earth. But when it comes to prevention, we rank 42 out of 43 countries.
Right.
So what's the problem with our medical system? Nobody's paying attention to prevention. They only tackle you when you're sick. There's money in disease. There's not money in health.
Well, that's what they're taught. Okay. Their altar, the altar is the treatment of disease. It's not the prevention of. And I've had people ask me, well, how do you know if you have X, Y, or Z? And I said, I really don't, but I act as if I'm, I act on putting healthy nutritional things into my body so that I can minimize the opportunity. We don't have control over all the variables, but we do have control, and we have the responsibility, which is a hard pill, literally, for some people to grasp, because medically they're told that they just have bad luck and it's bad genes. And I hear it as a chiropractor. I hear, well, my dad had arthritis and my grandfather had arthritis, and the type of arthritis that they're talking about has to do with motion and mobility and life and alignment. And to some degree, we're all going to break down as we age, to some degree, but it doesn't have to be rapid, and we don't have to reproduce. Only 5% of what is claimed to be genetic is actually genetic. The rest is lifestyle and environment.
Well, they don't go deep enough to tell you about epigenetics.
Right.
Epigenetics are basically, you can have a gene that, cancer runs in your family. It doesn't mean you're going to get it.
But you can turn it on.
What epigenetics says is you have to turn that gene on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It doesn't matter if you're carrying a bomb, you still got to light the fuse. So it's lighting the fuse is what gets you, not the bomb. So when they say, well, it's genetic, that's a cop-out.
Right.
It's an absolute cop-out. Okay. Epigenetic is more accurate. What is epigenetic? Your lifestyle, stress, and the environment. So anything happens in the environment, anything happens to you for stress, anything happens to you with your lifestyle, you drink and smoke and don't come home at all, you're going to activate a gene that may influence you as cancer, arthritis, diabetes. It's irrelevant. You're the one that lit the fuse. Don't be blaming Oreo cookies for your demise. You're the one that ate them. So, we all have to take responsibility. We say that a lot on this show. But you must take responsibility. May you never know the disease you prevent. If you wait till you get the disease, you didn't prevent it. You just waited. So if you think, oh, it's inevitable, it's in my genes, everybody in my family got sick, I'm going to die, doom and gloom. Wow. You need some spiritual help.
Right.
Because you do not have to be a victim. God taught us that. Right.
Especially today, now more than ever, because I've always looked, I used to take my patients on trips to the grocery store and show them how to shop, because if you can't pronounce the ingredients in your food source, then you probably shouldn't be eating it. It's not real food. Your body is not going to really respond, won't be bioavailable. It could even be toxic, and more than likely it is.
Right.
But now more than ever, even knowing what they do to the meat, knowing what they do, it's like right now, I would say that farmers should be like the first line of defense. We should be doing everything we can to support, like you said, our local farmers, because when you see how these cattle, the corporate cattle and the pigs and the chickens are kept, they are stressed beyond belief. And then they're butchered after they've been stressed. You're actually eating a bunch of stress. So it's really amped up in the past several years because the Food and Drug Administration has done nothing. It's interesting, they're under the same heading. They've done nothing to preserve what is really good and natural and wholesome for the body. So,
I got a testimony for you guys.
Great.
Okay.
There it is. Dr. J, that's one of your patients.
Yeah, Kara, thank you very much. Appreciate it. She's seeing AO skin as a game changer. Can help bring your body back to natural alignment the way God created it. It's an eye opener from a treatment standpoint to a prevention standpoint. Wow, that says a lot. I mean, I should put that on a billboard. Thank you very much for that comment. Also says it's a life-changing experience and will free you from being a medical guinea pig. Whoa!
Whoa.
That's intense.
Right?
Awesome. Well, you know, there's no cure-all, end-all to anything, but one thing the AO scan can tell you is where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And that's what's important, because when you have inside information, your body, your metabolism, what's going on with your body, your mind, what's going on with your emotions, then you have information on how to fix it. You have information on what to do. I always say this, you know, I've been teaching practitioners for 30 years, and I always tell them, the treatment is ineffective if you don't know the cause. Treating symptoms is nothing but a moneymaker. I got a fever. Well, here's something for fever. Why'd you get the fever? I don't know. I just have a fever. Well, then take this for fever. Well, why do I have a fever? I don't know. Well, wouldn't it be better to get rid of what caused the fever and then the fever would go away? Yeah. Well, then why aren't we doing that? Well, we don't know what caused the fever. Then why are you treating the fever? You see, it's nuts if you stop and you think. You know, and I always say this jokingly, God forbid, you know, a woman, maybe she's in her 50s, she walks into a doctor's office and says, I got aches and pains all over my muscles and my joints. I hurt everywhere. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. Nobody can help me. And the doctor says, oh, well, you got fibromyalgia. And all that said was, if you read that right to left, is pain in the muscle and the connective tissue. Isn't that what you said when you walked in?
And instead of just doing the, you know, asking, what is the fever doing in the body? The body is brilliant by design. We were created in the image and likeness of God. So if the body doesn't like something, it's going to go after it. Okay. Well, and optimum temperature, according to the American Pediatric Association, was 104 degrees. How many people know that and would let their body get to that degree to let it, sweat it out? Your skin is a very large organ. And sweating is really imperative for detoxification.
Right.
You know, so
if you got a fever, why'd you get one? Are you sick? Do you have bacteria? Do you have a virus? You don't know. Why is the body on fire? That's one thing the AO scan can kind of narrow down. It kind of helps you understand where it's coming from. Oh, this looks like it's coming from an infection. Well, guess what? If we treat the infection, the fever will go away. You treat the fever, the infection stays there.
Right.
So common sense, right? Common sense. So that's all we want to do is help you guys understand those. So those comments from the testimony from Kara just echo what it is that we're doing here. You know, Dr. Houston, myself, you know, we run these scans every day on lots of people, and it's amazing what they uncover. Are they cure all end alls? No, but they're very good at getting you to the point of what you need to do to change your lifestyle, help yourself with stress, help out the environment. You know, all these things can be changed by you.
Right. So that when you go in, like, this is the piece of what's going on prior to you going in with a sign or a symptom to your doctor and then expecting that they're going to, I mean, what is their goal? They're going to just eradicate the problem. And in their education and whatnot, they can remove it via surgery sometimes, or, mask it with a drug. Instead of asking, why is the body producing this? If the body made it, isn't it possible the body could reverse itself? And, if a body made a tumor, the body certainly has the ability to dissolve that tumor. But I'm not saying that that's exactly what we're trying to do here. I'm just saying that there is a lot that happens in the space prior to you experiencing that first symptom.
Yeah, and the hard
function.
Yeah, we all wait until we're sick, right? I mean, we wait until it's a little too late, right? And that's what scares me is people don't understand that if you take your eye off your health, it will go away.
Yeah. When y'all was talking about the symptom and the cause, let me tell you what came to my mind from the Bible. Y'all ready for this? And we probably never looked at it like this. You remember when Jesus was on the boat and it was a great storm? The Bible says he got out and he rebuked the wind and told the sea, peace be still. The water that was coming in the boat was the symptoms. The cause was the wind. So he didn't rebuke the water. He rebuked the wind. He rebuked the cause, not the symptoms.
Exactly.
So when y'all said that, I'm like, oh my God. So instead of us going after the symptoms, let's deal with the cause and you'll feel better.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to take authority. You have to make the decision. Are you going to chase the disease, or are you going to create? I always tell my patients, you can chase the problem or you can set a new trajectory. You have an opportunity right here. You can create excellent health. They're different streets. You have to acknowledge where you are. And if there's some short-term things you need to do to handle the emergency, if you will, you'd be responsible in that. But then you have to change something. Something's got to change. And that's the something usually is demonstrative on and as a result of the scanner. Yeah. I don't think most people know how their body is working by design. We say we're made in the image and likeness, but the nervous system is regulating everything. First thing that was created when we were conceived, and the majority of everything that's going on, you process it first through everything that goes on. You process it first through the nervous system. So we're just taught as a culture to watch TV, or we just kind of laid our health down. And Dr. J and I ask questions back to our people, like, what do you think is going on? What do you, how is your stress life? We try to get to the root cause, or we want you to get to the root cause, because you're in a position to make change, as opposed to watching TV and saying, ask your doctor for AstraZeneca and blah, blah, blah. And the side effects are death and impotency and whatever, that system is not the system that's going to bring you back to vibrant, vital health and optimal potential.
Yeah, exactly. Very interesting. I love that. And again, so much of the work that is coming done today goes back to the gut. We talk about that a lot, but that's just one aspect. An interesting aspect that, like Dr. Houston talked about, is pain. So many people deal with different types of pain every day. But what does pain tell you, Dr. Houston? I mean, what are you looking for? When somebody comes in and says, I have this pain, what is it you're looking for? Because I think it will help people understand what we do.
Well, when I'm looking for pain, I have to be like I'm on CSI, and I'm going to look at your history and find out, different things about your history of trauma, your history of your home environment, your stress levels. What are you eating? many times your traumas are not recent. Like people will tell me, oh, I haven't been in a car accident for years. I was, 12 years old, but I was hit by a car as a pedestrian. I'm like, you are a combination of everything you've ever experienced since the moment of conception.
Right.
So we have to become private eyes and really, really analyze the depth of what the whole picture is, not just the symptom. The symptom is the effect of the imbalance. The symptom is, pain can be natural, and in certain circumstances, it can be part of a healing process. But it should not be perpetuating. It should not be lasting long term. But we've got to find out what's the source of the pain. Is it inflammatory? Did you break something? Is it emotional? There's usually a connection to all the above. And we have to play private eye and find out where that is. What is the common denominator?
In fact, I had somebody recently who was a woman, confidentiality, I won't go too much far, but she was in a lot of pain for a lot of unexplained reasons. And I ran an AO scan on her. And the AO scan was really looking at what's called more like the emotional balance. I couldn't find any physical reason for the pain, but she's had this intractable pain for so long. Finally, the question was, well, why don't we start over? Why don't you tell me when the pain started? When did you first notice it? Oh, well, it happened back when I left, this particular city. Okay. What was going on? Well, I had a falling out with my church. Really? Explain that to me. Long story short, she had again, confidential, but a very horrible encounter with the priest of that particular church. And it racked her faith, right? It really got her inside, long story short. So we talked about it for the longest time. And then eventually the lights started going on. I said, well, maybe it's because of your connection to your faith. What happened there? And long story short, that's what it was. She found a new church, found a new pastor. Things are great now. But as soon as that happened, her pain went away. Isn't that interesting? We can have spiritual pain, right? So it was kind of interesting how the AO scan led us down that road. It didn't tell us that, but by talking to the person who knows more about themselves than anybody, we started connecting dots, and it had a lot to do with a falling out. Very interesting, right? You would never think something like that could cause intractable pain, but that's exactly what it was. Fascinating. So we can have physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual pain, or discourse or dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I love about this show. I feel like we cover a lot of ground. We've got spiritual doctors, we got physical doctors, we know about emotions, we know about the mind, we know about chiropractic, we know about reflexology, acupressure, acupuncture, a lot of these different things that enable the body to be whole. And it's a process. So hopefully we can help you if you're interested. Reach out to us. That's what we're here for. Let's work together with your help you figure out how you can be optimum. And that's a message I would always want to say that we should bring out to the show is how do you become optimum? You can be the ultimate of what God wanted you to be, the ultimate finished product, right?
That's a lifelong journey.
Yeah. So he gave us this temple, and David and I always talk about this. You would never disgrace a temple, would you? Why are you disgracing your body? It's the same thing.
Yes.
And we all have to understand that. God gave us a responsibility to take care of this organism that he's given us so beautifully. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But while we're in it, we need to take care of it and respect it. Otherwise, we're not respecting God. We're made in his image.
Somebody put a question up. I'm gonna put it up there.
Wow. Do you got anything to add to that?
I'll let you take that one.
I'm not sure what the question is. Do any of you utilize Dr. CB wisdom? Well,
I don't know Dr. CB. Do you?
A little bit. How I would answer is this. I've read 300 books on nutrition. What does that mean? Am I an expert in nutrition? but I read 300 books from 300 different sources. That's just nutrition. That's not including everything else I learned in naturopathy, homeopathy, holism, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, all the other things that I've studied. You know, so is there one person that I'm going to utilize? And my answer would be no. What I like to do is get as much knowledge as I can from as many different sources, many different institutions, and not just one streamline. But there are a lot of paths up the mountain. The view from the top is still the same. So I don't utilize one person's ideology ever. I use a conglomeration of that and pray. I pray over people just like I do myself. You know, I want to make sure that whoever comes to me is getting the best help based upon multiple sources, multiple wisdom, multiple philosophies. I don't follow one thing per se. That's just my opinion.
And I just looked up doctors, I don't know if it's SEBI or CB, alkaline and anti-inflammatory diet for beginners. I'm the same way. I look at a lot of what different people think and what different professionals say. And I've lived a lifelong anti-inflammatory diet, as much as we knew back when I was a kid. We could never eat sugar. It was such a minimal thing, and it was a treat. It wasn't an everyday thing. We had to have like 7 raw veggies before we could even talk about anything like that. With my dad growing up, because he was such a pioneer in the holistic field. But anti-inflammatory foods, that's really important. From a perspective, I know a lot of people say you shouldn't eat meat, and others will say it's okay to eat meat, but you should eat grass-fed and finished. And the main difference between grain and grass-fed is that grain-fed beef is probably bulkier and what have you, but it's also highly inflammatory. So, it can create inflammation in the body. I don't know this gentleman, what his take is on eating meat or not, but I do know that eating things that have life force in them, things that have been grown and are more naturally based, are going to be the best type of diet regardless, because there's energy from the sun, there's green, and it all is going to also depend on the health of the soil. Because the soil is a living organism also. So there's a lot of dynamics mixed into that. But like Dr. J said, you've really got to look at and see what a lot of different experts are going to say, a lot of different things. And the scanner helps to identify what will be the best thing for you as an individual.
Yeah, Dr. Sebi was more of a master herbalist. Mm-hmm. He dressed different. He never went medical. He always dealt with herbs. You need to take this. You want to strengthen your body, take this. If you want to cleanse your body out, take this. And he was always about herbs, master herbalist. That's what Dr. Sebi was about. That's where everybody that when they talk about Dr. Sebi, they talking about the herbs. They talking about and they said he was killed because of Big Pharma, and
Okay.
So that's when people started talking about Dr. Sebi, they talking about all the herbs and the fruits, and just like Dr. J was saying, which fruit to take, the tropical fruit and all of that. And that's what Dr. Sebi was on. He was always on healing your body, natural herbs, different fruits that you take. What is it? Shilajit, the raw Shilajits. And, yeah, and all of those kind of things. That's what Dr. Sebi was all about.
Right.
Shilajit is a resin. It's a very therapeutic resin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. There's a lot of great master herbalists out there. That's for sure.
It's like, to say that you follow one particular wisdom or philosophy. In general, yeah, I would definitely recommend anything he's talking about from an alkaline or anti-inflammatory diet or from herbalism. I prefer herbs. You know, I have a lot of practitioner friends that work in what's called the nutraceutical arm of natural health. What does that mean? They're not really herbalists. They're using, you know, what's called orthomolecules, basically looking at things that can be pulled from plants and basically cranked up, and then they really don't exist in nature, but they're still natural, and that's called nutraceutical. That's a whole different thing. Me, I'm still of the raw herb kind of mentality that your food can be your medicine, can be your poison or your medicine. So, you know, but if you want to get down and dirty, I'll say this, is that all these people, I can name 20 different people that are similar to him that I've studied with. Everybody in a way has the right idea. When I say somebody pass up the mountain, what we're all trying to say is you got to get back to nature. You got to get back to Mother Earth. You got to get back to what God put in front of us. Let me put it this way. 75% of every drug you can name came from a plant. And we've only studied 1% of all the plants on planet Earth for medicinal reasons. I'm going to repeat that. 75% of every drug you can name came from a plant. We've only studied 1% of all plants on planet Earth for medicinal purposes. What does that mean? What would happen if we studied the other 99% of all the plants? When we study 1% and 75% of our drugs come from there, what does that tell you? It tells you that everything you need is already in nature. It's the Bible tells us that. It's all there. I gave it to you. It's all in front of you. Man doesn't want you to know about these things. When I say man, I'm talking about powers that be that have financial interest in drugs and synthetics and basically things that you can patent. You can't patent broccoli. You can't patent slippery elm tree. Okay? And that's why they don't want you to know that. Or something as simple as methylene blue. I could talk about that for an hour. Nobody's talking about methylene blue. Because if you look at it, the FDA says it's a poison. Well, I got news for you. No, it's not. It actually fixes your mitochondria. They bury all that information. They don't want you knowing about zinc and vitamin D and sunshine and prayer. They don't. What happened past couple of years? They shut you down. Don't go to church. Don't pray. Don't see your family. Get out of the sun. Go hide in your basement. Eat your potato chips. Shut up. Mask up, shut up, sleeve up. That's what you were told. Like you're some kind of sheep. And it's not fair when they don't give you the information that's credible or accurate, but only to control us. You know, something as simple as a microbiome, and yet that's what everybody should be talking about, is what happens in your gut. You know, what happens in your gut will determine how you respond to any vaccine, whether it's good or bad. And nobody talks about the gut health. They talk about the vaccines, whether they're good or bad, whether they've been studied, whether there's any safety testing. Did we do this? Did we do time out? Every vaccine given to every person will act differently in every single person. Why? Because none of us have the same what's called microbiomes, you know, things that our bodies respond to. Our nourishment is different. Every family, every child has different nourishment. So they're going to respond to drugs differently than the next person. That's the problem with medicine. I can give a drug to one child that does wonders. I give it to the next child and the child dies.
Well, it's also gender dependent. Women and men are not going to respond the same with it either.
Correct. Or beasts, or if you got, you know, predispositions that we talked about already. Yeah, it's like, whoa, there's no cookie cutter here.
And in reference to the herbs, you've got to know your herb source. I mean, there's a lot of different places you can get herbs.
Yes.
But it's, you know, once again, I go back to, you've got to know your source. I'm always looking at pulling back the curtain to see where, you know, whether it's food or herbs. Herbs are food, by the way. You know, where does it come from? How are they extracted? Again, I highly recommend, if you haven't seen The Lunatic Farmer, I highly recommend you seeing it, because he pulls a handful of weeds and he starts naming them all, and they're all medicinal. They all have medicinal value.
Exactly. But yet, you know, we're hiding that information. We're not bringing that to the forefront. And those are things that we can do for you. So when we bring remedies to you, we're bringing whole food to your body. Let your body do the work. Okay, we're not here to give you drugs, not here to give you nutraceuticals, some kind of promise in a bottle. I'm just going to give you what exactly the Bible said. Here, eat this fruit. It shall be your food and it shall be your medicine. I don't need any more coaching. That's basically, practitioner prerogative. So no matter who we're studying with, they all have great ideas, great information, but there's a lot to know. Like Dr. Houston just said, you can't just learn about herbs and start growing them in your backyard and think you're going to know what you're doing. Because if you don't get the right moisture content in an herb, it's useless. You might as well put it on pizza. It does nothing medicinal. You have to know how to dehydrate. You have to know when to harvest. St. John's wort is great for depression, but it can only be picked between the times of 10 and 2 in the summer solstice in July. Otherwise, it's useless. You pick it any time of the year, anywhere else, it doesn't work. It doesn't have the actives built up in the flower. Gee, how many people know that? So you go grow St. John's wort in your backyard, you take some leaves and you go, well, that did nothing for my depression. Well, number one, you got the wrong part of the plant. Number two, you didn't pick it in the summer solstice between 10 and 2. So you have to have herbal knowledge to understand how to do herbs. So yeah, there's a lot to know. And so we are here to kind of cut through that, to make sure that if we're going to give you a remedy, it's the right pieces, parts, it's not contaminated, it's been tested. You got exactly what the label says you're going to get. Do not trust your health to Amazon. Otherwise, don't call me.
There you have it. Well, it's true because there is no, I mean, the marketing is such that you can say this is all natural and this is, doctor recommended, and it may have no doctor may ever have recommended it. And it might be all natural what? Are there fillers? Are there excipients? Did they use solvents? I mean, there's so much to it.
Did you know, Dr. Houston, I could make a phone call and I could get you your own supplements with your face on them?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, and then you could sell all your supplements in your little print. Dr. Houston's special, prostate formula. Somebody else made it. You have no quality control, but your face is on it, and everybody says, "Oh, well, Dr. Houston, I would take anything she gave me." Interesting that you can do that, right? Anybody who's a doctor can do that. I could create my own line, go on the internet, and make a lot of money. But what would I be selling? I'd be selling a third-party company that I have no quality control, and I'm not going to put my face on something and have somebody get hurt, or it doesn't work as advertised. So, be careful when you're out there going, oh, well, this doctor's on Facebook and he's selling blah, blah, blah with his face on it. I just laugh. I'm like, do you even know where it came from? Well, he must be reputable. Wow. Do your homework. Most likely it's not.
Right.
We're not on the internet. We're not on Facebook. I'm not talking to you from Facebook. I'm not talking to you from Instagram or X or anywhere else going, hey, buy my special Dr. J's formula. That should be something that you consider is the source of people that are trying to help you and the source of what you're taking. Your money, your body, you better make sure that, you're getting results. I know one thing, the things that we're talking about this show, and there are a lot of testimonies, a lot of people out there, we haven't even put them on here yet, will tell you that this is a game changer. Why is it a game changer? Because we're cutting to where you need the help. And then we're making sure whatever we recommend to you, our reputations are on the line. Okay. So we're not going to sit there and hand you garbage in the hopes of making a few bucks. I want results. I get results. Yay. It's not about what you made. It's not the money. It's got nothing to do with that. It's about helping people get better, because happy people are great warriors for God. That's just the way I look at it. We have a hard time helping God when we're incapacitated and we're in pain all day. How can we work for God? We're too busy trying to get through the day. A healthy person has 1,000 concerns. A sick person has one.
That's exactly right.
One thing to think about when humans get sick, right? And I've taught this all over the world. I have taught all over the world. I'm not kidding. And I tell every audience this. We all get sick the same way. We all heal the same way, regardless of your size, shape, gender, skin color. Doesn't mean anything to me. When humans get sick, it's very, very similar. The analogy I use is think of your body like a lake. and you're just smothered by algae, right? You're like a meadow that's overrun with weeds. What do you do to clear the meadow? What do you do to clear the lake? It's the same thing we're going to do with you. We don't care about the diagnosis. I don't care what your diagnosis is today. Because if you're in optimum shape and everything in the body is fine, you don't have algae, you don't have weeds, you don't have toxins. That's the analogy. You're not sick. You're in balance. You're in balance. You don't have symptoms. You don't have symptoms. You don't get a diagnosis. This is pretty simple, isn't it? People are, well, my doctor gave me a medication, but he never told me when to quit it. I said, well, they don't. They tell you to take it for life because they probably think you're too stupid to fix it. Now, I'm sorry if that sounds derogatory, but that's the way they act. If you said to your doctor, hey, wait, I want to try changing my lifestyle. I'm going to go listen to Kingdom Ministries. I'm going to go talk to Dr. Houston and get a scan. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on. I'm going to change my lifestyle, my stress, my environment. I'm going to start taking whole foods. I'm going to eat different. I'll come back in 6 months and we'll see where these labs are at. How come nobody says that? They say, oh, okay. And they take the drug and they walk out, never even look up the side effects and never even ask how long do you have to take it. I wish I had a business model like that. I wouldn't be on this show. I'd be in Hawaii permanently.
We need you. We don't need you in Hawaii, sir.
Just saying. Come on, folks. Give us a call. That's why we're here. This, we're not trying to raise money here. What we're trying to do is help you. But you got to help us out. And that's what we're here for. Help you to become better in all ways. So I appreciate that. Thanks for rant.
Oh, no, you're good. It's about that time, though. So, okay. Dr. Houston, there you go.
So, as Dr. J so eloquently puts it, we are here to help you and to serve you so that we can help you find the way to greater health through having a better functioning temple. And we want to raise the frequency of the planet. We want to raise the frequency of your health. And everything is running on frequency in this life. So healthy cells are going to be a higher frequency. Healthier frequency means healthier relationships. Healthier, when you're healthy, you're going to have more joy in your life. You're going to have more opportunity to do the things that God is calling you to do. So we're honored to be here with you. I'm honored to be here with you. And I look forward to speaking with you and helping you achieve those goals. Thank you.
Thanks much. I appreciate that. That was really good. And you never know what day or what each day will bring, in your life, right? Sometimes you wake up and you've got all these plans and it gets derailed. I always ask Laura to remind me, when my plans go awry and I get flustered, to help me, stay with me, that these things are going to happen. But illness, doesn't have its own agenda, right? You can be in the middle of doing a million things and all of a sudden, boom, I don't feel so well. I got a pain. Something's not right. I need to get to the bottom of this. It's going to stop you from what you're doing. Don't overlook it. Take the time, contact us. Let us try to help you before it becomes a very serious issue. Or if it is a serious issue, we'll try to help you get to the right people. And sometimes you're going to need surgery. Sometimes you're going to need medication. And that's great. What we'll try to do is always first do no harm. First, do no harm. Everything that we recommend here on this show is not meant to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. It's only meant to give you side benefits, not side effects. You're interested in that. You want a way where with time, you can change your lifestyle, and with time, change your body. Give us a call. That's why we're here. So thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Take care. God bless.
Amen. So we thank everybody. We're going to have some more, but I want them live testimonies so we can ask questions and talk with them on next week. I will make sure we have some lined up to be on face to face, so you don't just see a text, you'll see a face. With that, so you'll know that these AO scans are really good, they really works, and they will help you become a better person physically, mentally, and spiritually. So we thank y'all for being with us on this beautiful Monday, and we're looking forward. If you want to do an AO scan. My number's on the screen. Just call me at 414-676-0842, and I'll show you how you can get your AO scan done. Until next Monday, God bless.